So I want to welcome Akshat, our resource person for the day. He's doing a lot of sessions on resource management. And today we have the honor of hosting this event. And I'm sure more and more people are going to join in and get benefit out of this. So already we are running late. So without wasting much time, I'll invite Akshat to start the session. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kendrick sir, Matthew sir, for having me here, having me in the team here from Pennywise's. Very much welcome to this session on money management and personal finance. Matthew sir, quick check. I don't have the access to screen share. Can you
Yeah,
allow me
just 1 second. 1 second. Yeah.
that? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
in the
just try
meanwhile,
now. Just try.
sure. Yes, I can do it now. So I hope you're all able to see my screen. Matthew, you can see the slide, right?
Yes. Go ahead.
Perfect. So, I could just request everyone if you could just check your mics quickly. If you could go on mute, that'll be super helpful for the benefit of all. We could focus on the session. So, namaste and warm welcome to all of you in this session on the fundamentals of personal finance. Let's talk personal finance today. We've kept it really basic for people from all walks, and I'm sure a lot of you already have expertise and knowledge about personal finance. But we wanted to keep it super basic, just touching upon some of the common mistakes that we often do, and also kind of refreshing all the basics that we must know to have the right mindset with respect to money management. Right? We come from Pennywise. We are a financial literacy platform. We are not agents, or I mean, we do not endorse any product sell any financial product. Our entire goal is to educate the audience so that you can take the right informed decisions, keeping in mind all the calculations that you must be aware of. Right. That's what we do at Pennywise, and we just wanted to put a disclaimer out there that we might take examples and samples of names of various products, banks, so on and so forth. But in no manner are we affiliated to any one of them. And all that we're trying to do is give you the right set of financial guidance or the right set of ways in which you can actually work through your money. Right? So quick check, we really want this session to be very interactive, and I'd love if all of you can keep your chat windows open and keep sharing your thumbs ups whenever you like something, or in fact even your questions whenever you have some. Right? Gautam will be closely monitoring the chat. Gautam is my co-founder at Pennywise, and he also joined me today to take care of all the questions while along I do this. I mean, facilitate the session. In fact, just like a friendly share with all of you. So Gautam is my money mentor, right? And I come from a completely non-finance background. It so happened that we ended up sharing a apartment in Hyderabad when I was working. And that's where he taught me about money, and then we thought maybe together we should do something to help people understand more about money. So Gautam, feel free to say hi.
Thank you, Akshat. Thank you for warm welcome. So, hello everyone. Very good evening.
Cool. So quickly, on a scale of 1 to 10 on the chat, how excited are all of you? 10, 10, 10 for finance. So excited. Anyone more than 10? Okay, I have 1 9, so I have to make sure that becomes a 10. Dr. Kendrick, so sweet, he's already giving me 11. Awesome. Chalo. So we thought, since you're all here on a Sunday night, why not start with a bonus? What if I tell you all of you get some free money for attending this session? Right? Yes, that's what Matthew sir promised that he's going to give everyone a bonus. But okay, before you start throwing tomatoes on all of us, let's assume that all of you get 1 lakh rupees of free cash right into your, bonuses into your bank account. And what you've got to quickly tell me is, out of these four options, out of this 1 lakh that you've received as a bonus, how are you going to split your expenses in each of these four options? So what you have to do is you have to actually spend on each of those four options, but you've got to tell me how much. Let's say A 20%, B 30%, C something, D something, right? So you don't have to give me one option, but you've got to quickly tell me, put it down in the chat, how much for A, how much for B, how much for C, and how much for D. Yeah, everyone's selecting B. Guys, you don't have to select one. So think of yourselves out there in the mall right now on a Sunday evening with your friends and family, already on a shopping spree, and that's when you get this 1 lakh rupees of additional bonus. That's what are you going to do then? Okay, C and D, A, mixed responses. Wonderful, wonderful. By the end of this session, maybe we'll actually get to understand it even better as to what I was trying to aim to get at with this question. But yes, let's move forward. And what we've tried to do is we've tried to divide this session into the three subsections: why, what, and how. Why is it that we should save and invest? How is it that we can go about it? And what is it that we can go about it? And how do we get started with making these investments, right? And going from the very basics, why should we save? So I believe there are two major reasons why all of us should save money. Number one, for all the aspirations that we have in life, or all the financial goals that we have in life. Could be going on a trip, going for shopping, buying the car that you always wanted to buy, so on and so forth. So anything and everything, anything relating to our aspirations, any of the financial goals that we want to achieve in life, that's why we've got to save money. And secondly, for any sort of emergencies that could come up, right? It could be an emergency in case of a medical emergency, or it could be an emergency in the sorts of, an emergency in business, or anything related to job where, you might be, your salary might not be on time, so on and so forth. So therefore, it is super, super important for us to save money so that we can take care of our financial goals, and we can also take care of all the emergencies that could come up, right? Which brings me to a very, very important concept of something called as an emergency fund, right? Now, what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund means that any amount of money is readily available to us in case of anything bad happens, right? Let's say, hypothetically, I hope this never happens to anyone, but let's say we were in a job and somehow something happened and we are now out of the job, right? At this point of time, when you're out of the job, you really don't know how you are going to take care of the expenses over the coming months, right? And therefore, that's when this emergency fund could help you. This emergency fund could help you take care of all the expenses during that period of time when you do not have a recurring income coming in, right? And therefore, it is suggested that an emergency fund is something that all of us should have. How do you go about building one? If, let's say, you are single at this moment, then we believe your current monthly expenses, let's say your current monthly expenses, including your rent, groceries, food, fees, all the expenses that you do together comes out to be, say, about 50,000 rupees, right? So 50,000 into 6, up to 3 lakh rupees of money should be available to you at all times, right? So that in case today something happens to us, we have this 3 lakh rupees that can be utilized for the next 6 months, and we really don't have to come into the panic mode or worry about how do we go about arranging for money, right? So if you're a single, expenses into 6 months. If, let's say, you're married and you have a dependent, I would say expenses into 9 months. And similarly, when you have kids, other dependents, expenses into 12 months, so on and so forth, right? The bigger the dependents that you have, the more the number of dependents that you have around yourself, the more should be your emergency fund size, so that you can take care of all such things, right? Now, where do you keep an emergency fund? The third column on the table that you see. Now, a lot of times what happens is people would either just keep all of this money in the savings account, or maybe, as cash at home, or maybe put it in a fixed deposit. I think it is very important to break up this money into three different venues. You should keep about 20% of it as cash, maybe at home or in your savings bank account, so that whenever you need it, you have that immediately. About 40% of it in fixed deposits. Yes, nowadays, mostly the fixed deposits, in case you've got to break any fixed deposit in case of an emergency, it would immediately come to your bank account, to your savings account. But there could be, some technical glitches. There could be some bank holidays, so on and so forth, that it might cause you a day or two of delay, and therefore we've got to take that into consideration. And that's why I said the 20% should be in your savings account at all times. So 40% in FD and the other 40% in your something called as a liquid mutual fund, right? For those of you who are not aware of liquid mutual fund, it's absolutely fine. You can split between cash and FD. However, a liquid mutual fund is also very, very easy to understand. And maybe, at the end of the session, if anyone has a question, I can cover that in detail. Right. But having said that, I want to reiterate the importance of having an emergency fund. Stats say, out of a survey done by one of the leading media agencies, that less than 5% of the salaried people have an adequate emergency fund, right? So my first and humble request to all of you would be today to go back and see how much do you have in your emergency fund. Is that sufficient? If not, let's start working on that as action item 1. Cool. Everyone good with me so far? Can I have a quick round of thumbs ups if the pace of the session is fine, if everything is going good in the chat? Perfect. Thank you so much. Cool. Okay, so we'll progress, right? Now, is saving money enough, right? And I'm sure, obviously, all of you know the answer to it. It is not. It is not, because of this termite which is there in all of our lives called inflation, right? Something that was 20 rupees in the early 2000s, a Mac aloo tikki burger, I think, cost somewhere about 50 to 60 rupees, depending on the states that we're staying in, right? And same way, if you go across any industry, any product, any item, be it be it the rent of the place that we are living in, or be it the daily expenses that you got to pay, the amount of inflation that has countered in, it has been impossible to counter that with just increasing our earnings, right? And therefore, it becomes super, super, super important for us to not just save money, but also invest money, right? And when I say invest money, we mean investing it into financial assets that could actually give us higher returns than just the traditional savings bank accounts or the FD interest, right? How do we go about it? We will cover that in this session as well. Now, having said that, as soon as I talk about investing, most common question that comes into people's mind, or what is the most common thing that we've seen people doing, is they mistake it often into, how do I make 100 ka 200, right? How do I just invest my money today and tomorrow it becomes double or triple or 4 times, so on and so forth, right? No, that's not what we meant. What we meant was, you've got to grow your money, and we want you to grow it exponentially. But what is it that helps us grow our money exponentially? Something that I think Matthew sir taught me, and I'm sure a lot of you as well. The eighth wonder of the world. It is called the eighth wonder of the world, compounding, right? The chapter is simple interest, compound interest. I don't think I took it that seriously at that point of time. But yes, it was super, super important to understand. And therefore, that brings me to the eighth wonder of the world, called compounding, right? And compounding, powered with patience, actually helps you grow your money. Now, I know this could be a little theoretical, and therefore, what we've tried to do is, we've tried to create some calculators for you, right? We always hear about people talking on the social media, compounding. But how does compounding relate, right? So this tracker here, this is the age when one started. This is the investment amount. We've taken a very moderate interest to begin with, and this is the final value as to how money grows, right? And so a 1 lakh invested, a 10% interest would obviously give us 1,10,000 at the end of the year. Similarly, by the end of second year, it becomes 2,31,000, so on and so forth. And if you see a lakh rupees invested over a period of about 40 years gives us somewhere about 10 crores 50 lakhs by the age of 65, which is the retirement age for most of us, right? 1 lakh a year, it is close to about 10,000, 8,000 rupees a month. I'm sure all of us can manage investing this amount of money, right? Having said that, if you increase the interest, if you increase or decrease the investment amount, obviously the numbers would change. But the intention of showing you this calculation, and in fact, we'd love to share this calculator with those of you who need access to it. But the intention of doing this is you play it with your numbers, what you think could be the right numbers for you. Let's say if you're not able to get started when you were 18 and today you are 30, you want to get started today, what is the kind of amount that you can invest? What are the kind of percentages that you think you can assume to earn over the coming years, and therefore what is the kind of number that you can achieve for yourself, right? That's the intention of sharing all of these calculators, so that you can actually take very calculated and very informed decisions as to if today I start, how much can we kind of accumulate at the end of the year, right? And for you to also see how does compounding really so almost all the concepts that I'm going to teach you, we will couple that with a calculator, right? Similarly, even we have an inflation calculator just for you to understand how your inflation is going to matter, or how your inflation is going to kind of increase over the coming years, right? So 10,000 today is going to be roughly about 32,000 rupees 20 years from now, right? Anything that we buy worth 10,000 today is going to be 32,000 rupees, right? So how do we go about countering for that? That's what this calculator can help you understand. It's basic, so I'm not paying too much attention to it, but in case anyone wants me to come back to it, I'll be more than happy to do that, right? So eighth wonder coupled with the ninth wonder of the world is what brings us, is what gives us the basic essence of saving and investing our money, right? Save, invest, compound with a little bit of patience, and that's it. That's the principle on which the entire personal finance is dependent. That's it, right? Moving on. Now, what we've tried to do is we've tried to make a list of some of the common mistakes that we've seen people doing, and then we will relate this mistake to a concept that would help us learn this in a better way. But there are 7 mistakes that we've identified most of the people do. We'll go one by one. The first one is whenever we talk about saving, whenever we talk about investing, and as soon as we learn a little bit of the tricks there, we're like, let me save every single penny that I have. Yeah, I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to go out for movies. I'm not going to go out for dinner. I'm going to tell my family that I am on a saving spree. I'm going to save every single penny. Does that really work? I don't think so, right? By the 10th, 15th, 20th of the month, we're like, oh shit, I've had a long day. I've worked really hard. Let me just go out for a dinner, right? And maybe we end up splurging more than what we would have done if we would have originally planned for it, right? So making unrealistically strict budgets, not assigning funds for entertainment, spending first, investing whatever is left, two of the most common mistakes, right? These 2 mistakes. And let's figure out how can we solve for these, right? What is it? What are those few strategies, very basics, but what are those few strategies that we can actually put up right from day one in order to make sure we counter for these 2 mistakes? Which brings me to the topic. Yeah, see, my reaction if someone says, where did all your money go? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea at all, right? So, yeah. So, which brings me to the topic, effective budgeting strategies, right? And I'm sure you must have all seen this chart on social media talked about very often about splitting your money between your needs, your wants, your savings. 50% into your needs, 30% into your wants, 20% into your savings. However, somehow I feel, and I'm sure many of you must be using this as well, but somehow I feel that this does not work. This does not work because of this very basic understanding between a need and a want. I sometimes feel buying an iPhone is a need. I want to take videos, I want to shoot content for Pennywise, so on and so forth. But then, I just think it's really a want. Android phone could do that, and with the editing softwares available, with the AI coming in, the same quality is possible to achieve. And this constant juggle between a need and a what is what makes this impractical for me, right? And therefore, I have never been able to follow this. So we twisted it a bit. We twisted it a bit into something that we feel works. It's worked for me. It's worked for most of the people that we've seen following this, and we hope it works for you as well. And that's what we call as the 30-20-50 rule. The 30-20-50 rule, very simple, states that 50% of our, or rather, let me start with the 30. The 30% of our money, 30% of our current income goes straight away towards long-term assets. Something that we're not going to touch for the next 20 years, 25 years, 15 years, whatever is the time period. Something that we're just going to keep it for the long term. We will let compounding work for it. We will give it the 20, 30, 40 years as much as we can. And that is what is going to take care of all our future goals. 20% is what we're going to use for our immediate needs. And the remaining 50% is what we are going to spend. The remaining 50% is the money where we are going to live like a king, like a queen. We're going to do anything and everything. But that's what we're going to focus our energy on when we are spending money. But the 30 and the 20, they remain constants, right? Make sense? Make sense? How many of you think you can follow this? Quickly in the chat, put I can. How many of you think you can follow this, or are you already following this? Following, I can. Put that in the chat. Okay, couple of you. Somebody says maybe. I love the word maybe. Thank you for being honest. So I know a lot of you, most of you who are saying I can. You'd love it tonight. Tomorrow morning you'd be like, yes, Akshat told me something about it. By day after tomorrow, you'd be like, it say something. I really don't know what did he talk about. Let it be. I'm good with that. Right? I know that's gonna happen. And therefore, just so that you don't get into that unnecessary loop, we've kind of figured out a way where you can automate this tonight itself. Tonight, right after this session, you can actually go and automate this for the next 10, 15, 20 years, which is called the 3 bank account strategy. The 3 bank account strategy is what you need in order to effectively budget yourselves. What does this mean? Listen to this carefully. The 3 bank account strategy states that you must have accounts in 3 banks, 3 different banks. Let's say, for example, an SBI, an ICICI, and an HDFC. Just random example. Huh? Now, let's say you label each of these banks as your earn it, invest it, spend it. Right? So your SBI becomes earn it account, your ICICI becomes invest it account, your HDFC becomes spend it account. So earn it is basically your salary account, wherever you're getting your salary. What you want to do is, whatever is your salary account, you go to net banking, you know how much salary do you earn. 30% of that money, you're going to put a automated net banking instruction. It's very simple, automated transfer, setting a biller, it comes with different names in different banks, but very simple. 30% of this money that you're going to earn, your salary date, it could be first, it could be last, it could be 7th, depending on your organization. 30% of this money, you've got to put up an instruction. It goes, transfers on, let's say if 7th is your salary date, on the midnight of 7th, 30% of your income has to transfer from your earn it to your spend it account. You're basically just giving your net banking an instruction that on the 7th of every month, let's say you earn 1 lakh rupees, 30% of this 1 lakh, which is 30,000 rupees, will get transferred from your earn it, from your SBI account to your ICICI account, to your invested account. As simple as that. 50% of that money, 50,000 in this case, you'll set up another instruction there. It goes from your earn it to your spend it account. And the remaining 20,000, that remains in your earn it account. Right? I'll say this again. You've got to put an instruction. 30% of your money goes from your earn it to your invested. 50% goes from your earn it to your spend it. The remaining 20% remains in your earn it. And that's it. That's all that you need for your effective budgeting. Now, all your credit cards, debit cards, it should be only linked to your spend it account. I would say throw away the debit cards for your earn it and invest it account, because those are not the accounts that you're going to spend money from. Your spend it account is the only account that you'd spend money from, right? I'm just hypothetically saying, let's say you have a total of 2 lakh rupees in that after doing this activity for over a period of time, right? So you are going to train your brain saying that I have only 2 lakh rupees to survive. That's the amount, that's my net worth as of today. I cannot spend anything more than 2 lakh, right? Just giving you a hypothetical example. But that's how you've got to think about it and apply the 3 bank account strategy. Now, I know this must be a very common question coming to your mind. Actually, 30, 20, 50, it doesn't really work. We have dependence, we have a lot of things. Understood. Absolutely. No denying that fact, right? Every one of us is different. Every one of us has a different sort of responsibility, liability, so on and so forth. But what I want you all to go back and think is, what is that rule that works for you? Start with a 10-10-80 rule. Absolutely fine. Slowly increase it to a 20-10-70 rule, right? Slowly increase it into a 25-15-60 rule. The point being, you've got to identify these 3 different buckets with these 3 different numbers and try following that for 6 months, 3 months, and then change it, right? But trust me, folks, I have personally been doing this for the last, I'd say 4.5, 5 years. And the amount of money that I would have thought I needed to spend versus the amount of money that I've spent is really, really different. I've really been able to invest a lot of my money, right? And therefore, I hope this is something which you would all find useful. Your 30, 20, 50 rule clubbed with your 3 bank account strategy is all that you need to effectively budget yourselves, right? And that's it. Make sense? Clear? Everyone good with budgeting? Can I again have a quick round of thumbs ups if this makes sense to all of you? Yes? Okay. Perfect. I hope you're all following. If not, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. Gautam is going to be constantly screening them. Whatever questions can be answered, he'll answer in the chat. Whatever cannot be, we will answer it at the end of the session. Right? Now, taking a step further. Mistake number 3, 4, and 5. We often chase returns. We're like, Akshat, no. Market is at an all-time high right now. Market just fell down 3 days before. Not a good time to invest. Market is at an all-time high. No, not a good time to invest. I'm going to invest 6 months down the line. I just read in the newspaper that Trump is going to take office charge from January, and post that markets are going to be different, this, that, etc. And we just keep filling ourselves with so many stories that we just keep chasing these returns and the market analysis and so on and so forth. Trust me, it's been 5 years of starting Pennywise. We started it somewhere in 2020 when the COVID had just happened. Markets had taken a deep fall, and then they were on their way to come back. And I very strongly remember, we had this debate in the Pennywise amongst the Pennywise community members that hey, markets are at 40,000 Sensex points. It's too high. It's too high. There is no point we should invest right now. We should hold our money. We should hold our cash. For those of you who are following the markets today, they're at 80,000 points, right? Approximately 75 to 80,000 points. So the money has doubled from 2020 to 2024. So the point being, again, don't track markets, right? Don't track these returns. It doesn't work that way, right? You just got to figure out that 30%, that investment money, and keep investing that. Keep putting that into your SIPs, mutual funds, fixed deposits, so on and so on, right? That's what we want really to focus on, right? So often chasing returns, investing in unregulated schemes to get higher returns. Please don't do this. Invest in schemes that are governed by SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, so that in case something ever happens, you have a place where you can go and register a complaint, right? So please do not go into unregulated schemes. Get rich quick schemes, right? You'll often find a lot of people saying, hey, trust me, I'm in this industry for 20 years. You give me your money, trust me, in the next 2 months, 3 months, it'll become double, it'll become triple, so on and so forth. It doesn't work that way, guys. It just doesn't work that way. And therefore, let me quickly run you through some of the other content that we've prepared so that you can easily identify, problems with these three mistakes and therefore resolve them, right? So this brings me to take you to this topic of an overview of all financial avenues. Where is it that we can invest our money, Akshat? We've understood about the 30-20-50. So 30% is what we've got to invest, 20% is what we 30%, very high level, we can broadly categorize all the options of investing that we have today in India into these four broad categories. Number one, equity. Number two, fixed income. Number three, real estate. Number four, commodities. Right? As we all know, fixed deposits, recurring deposits, PPF, it basically has the underlying theory that today we invest money and the bank or the government institute is going to give us a guaranteed return, right? A fixed return. Today, if I open a 1 lakh rupee FD in any bank, I'll get about 6%, 7% return. So no matter what happens, at the end of 1 year, irrespective of what's happening in the country, in the markets, in the overall global scenarios, the bank has to pay me 1 lakh and 7,000 rupees back, right? That's what we call as the fixed income products, where we know what we're going to get back after a period of time, right? Same happens with your PPF. Right now, I think you're getting about 7.1% return over a period of 15 years. So you've got to keep putting in money into a PPF account for 15 years. After 15 years, you get about 7% return back, right? So where you know how much you're going to get back after what percentage or after what amount of time, that is more or less your fixed income product. Your national savings certificates, bonds of various other hand, equity products, as the name suggests, it is something where related to stock markets, products that, let's say, stocks of the companies where money grows. If the companies do not perform well, our money falls down, right? So those are equity related products. Gold, I don't think it needs any introduction. We all know what gold is and how the prices of gold have been going on, how they've been increasing over the years, over the last years. And finally, real estate, wherever, a house, a commercial property, a land, so on and so forth, the real estate, right? And honestly, friends, that's it. There is no fifth product. There is no fifth avenue. So I know somebody is talking about how safe Bitcoin is. We will cover that separately, but it's not in the scope of these four financial products. It's not in the scope of the four financial avenues that we have, right? And all our money has to go up. The 30% of the money has to go in here, nowhere else, right? I'll take a step forward and then I'll come back to the Bitcoin thing. I don't want to keep it hanging. But I also wanted to quickly cover mutual funds and NPS, right? So a lot of times we've seen people saying, I invest my money in mutual funds, right? I invest my money in SIPs, in SIPs, right? Systematic investment plan. Now, please do understand that mutual funds are not a financial avenue. They are actually not a product or a avenue that you're going to invest in. It's not an asset, basically, right? A mutual fund is not an asset. A mutual fund is a way for you to invest your money into an asset. I'll say this again. A mutual fund is not an asset. A mutual fund is a way to invest your money into an asset. So today, let's say, I think that, I don't really have the option of, I really don't have the understanding of going and picking the stocks of various companies. I don't have the time to do the analysis and, look at the reports, so on and so forth. Is there anyone who could do this for me, right? And so I would maybe go to a mutual fund company. I'll tell them, hey, we have about 10 of us who want to mutually collect our money and give it to you. can you invest it on behalf of us, right? And that's what a mutual fund does. A mutual fund company collects the money from various people, various investors who want to invest, and based on the ideology, whether it is an equity linked scheme, whether it is a gold linked scheme, whether it is a fixed income led scheme, they would invest your money into various sorts of mutual funds, right? So a mutual fund is a way to invest your money, but not really an asset class. And same goes with the national pension system. NPS, a lot of people have started enrolling into it, but please do remember, NPS also, it's a way of investing your money into the various asset classes, more aimed towards getting that money at your retirement, but it is not really an asset class per se, right? Just a theoretical difference, but something you should be aware of, right? And therefore, it basically becomes a very important and a very a decision that you've got to take consciously as to what kind of mutual funds that you're investing in, what kind of NPS assets are you investing in, right? Which obviously we can cover later on during the Q&A, right? But going back to the overall asset classes that we've had, gold, fixed income, real estate, so on and so forth, I wanted to share a quick comparison on all of these investments, all of these asset classes, right? So say you had 1 lakh rupees in the year 1980, how would that 1 lakh rupees look today? And assuming that 1 lakh rupees in the year 1980, assuming that inflation has been about 6% over the years, 1 lakh leads to about, or the value of 1 lakh in 1980 is roughly 13 lakh rupees as of 2024. Assuming the money has grown by 6%, 1 lakh of 1980 is equivalent to 13 lakhs of today. Now, if you had invested this money in gold, in this 1 lakh in gold in the year 1980, your investment today would have been somewhere about 66 lakh rupees. Had you invested this money into fixed deposit, your investment would have somewhere been about 30 lakh rupees. Had it been PPF, your investment would have been somewhere about 44, 45 lakh rupees. And had it been Sensex, which is one of the measures of the stock market, your money would have been, your 1 lakh rupees would have been 4 crores and 70 lakh rupees. 4 crores and 70 lakh rupees. Can you see the difference? Now I know all of you must be, oh shit, I should have invested in the stock markets. My friend from the old time was telling me to do that, right? Right? Now, let's forget what happened in the past. But on the other hand, if today you have 1 lakh rupees, looking at this analysis that we've just shared, or this data that we've just shared, quickly tell me which is your favorite. Quickly tell me which is your favorite. It's in the chat. So if today you have 1 lakh rupees, where are you going to put that 1 lakh rupees into? Equity, stocks. I want that 4 crores, right? Gold, I'll be safe. Shares in gold. Makes sense? Makes sense? Makes sense? Makes sense? Cool. Valid answers? Valid answers? Now, I think the best way to think about this question that I've asked is, why not all? Why not diversify them into all? Why choose just one? I'm sure you heard of that story of 2 eggs. So if all the eggs were, if I took a dozen eggs and they were all in this one packet, and let's say if I by chance that packet got dropped, it'll kind of break all of them, right? But what if I had split them into 2 different packets? Even if one of them, got dropped and the eggs got spoiled, the other packet is still going to be there with me, right? I saved almost 50% of the eggs. What if I put them further into 4 packets, into 10 packets? Yeah, that brings me to this concept of diversification. Diversification means splitting your investments or splitting your money into the various asset classes that we've just spoken about, right? And splitting it in such a way that you get the best of all of them and you basically mitigate the risks that are associated with all of them, right? So diversification is a strategy where you can actually actually invest, and I'm sure you all do this today, right? You put in some amount of money into fixed deposits, some amount of money into mutual funds, some amount of money into some other schemes. I'm sure you're all already doing this. But I think doing it the right way makes all the difference, right? Diversifying your money the right way makes all the difference, right? I know this was a little theoretical, but we will just come to the practical aspect of it. But before we do that, the seventh mistake that all of us do. So now that we've understood the various avenues that we can invest in, and mind it, there was no insurance schemes, no bitcoins, no cryptos in those slides. Please take a note of that. There was no LIC, there were no XYZ schemes. There were only those four asset classes and the products associated with it. Why did we not include all of these schemes there? We will just cover that later. But I just want you all to take a note of that, right? So now that we've covered the mistake number 3, 4, and 5, mistake number 6, no goal-based planning. So today I say that, I want to buy a Mercedes, or I want to buy a villa, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep saving, and 10 years later, I'm going to see if I can buy a villa. That's one way of thinking about it. But what if I do the other way? Today I do the market research, and let's say, I figure out the villa that I want to buy. Today that villa is, let's say, 2 crore rupees. And doing the mathematical calculations, understanding the inflation, I think, over a period of 10 years, the villa is going to be, say, 8 crore rupees. From 2 crore, it's going to go 4x, it's going to go 8 crore rupees. So why not think of it this way? 10 years from now, I need 8 crore rupees. How much should I invest in? Right? So instead of going the way that, let me start with 5,000, 10,000, 1 lakh rupees a month and see how much I can make, going the top-down approach, a bottom-up approach, why don't we do the top-down approach, which is we think of the goal that we want to fulfill, see how much money it's going to cost us, and finally drill down into how much should I start investing in, right? How easy does that make it? How easy does that make it? And that's why we have something called as a goal calculator for all of you, right? A goal calculator is simply a calculator that would help you understand how much money do I need. So let's say my goal is I want to buy a Honda City car in 5 years from now. And you see here, I've given some ROI assumptions, and we will cover this in the subsequent slide as to the basis of this. But let's say I have this ROI assumption, and I'm going to take an average of this equity and fixed income. Let's say I diversified between equity and fixed income. Let me take an average of this. So Honda City car, 5 years from now, I average of 8 and 5, somewhere about 6.5. Okay, I need about 15 lakh rupees, right? For buying a Honda City. There you go. The calculator has given me a number that today onwards, if I start investing 22,000 rupees into an asset that could give me a 6.5% return over a period of 5 years, I will be able to achieve my goal of buying a Honda City car. Right? That's how we've got to calculate, my friends. All the goals that we have, that's how we're going to put them. That's how we've got to put them in a sheet, and we've got to calculate how can we achieve all of these goals, right? And therefore, the mistake number 6 that we were talking about, which is not thinking of goals, that's going to be your next action item. Please identify the goals that you need to invest in. I know for a lot of you, for most of our teachers, retirement could be a big goal. Teaching as a profession, I believe, does not offer pension, right? So you want to have enough in your savings, in your corpus, that post your retirement, your savings can take care of your, pension. Correct? So therefore, it becomes very, very important for us to identify the goals that we want to invest our money in. Guys, just give me 1 quick second. I need to put my laptop to charging. Yes, it should be. Okay, right? So that's what. Yes, fixed deposit, recurring deposit is a part of fixed deposit, right? So recurring deposit is nothing but a subset of fixed deposit. So yes, fixed deposit, recurring deposit, pretty much same, right? Now, so we were talking about goal-based planning, right? And now, as some of you rightly questioned, can you share the ratio of splitting into these four schemes, right? And honestly, you know what? That ratio will depend on all of you. And I'll share a framework which will help you take that call. And listen to this very, very carefully. This is going to be super, super important. It is little theoretical, but very important. And once we get this right, we are really, really sorted on our personal finance planning journey, right? So the point here is there are three pillars of financial planning. There are three pillars of financial planning: the goal, the risk appetite, and the time in hand. What is the goal that I have? What is it that I want to save money for? The risk appetite that I have with respect to achieving that goal, how much can I afford to lose in a way, and the time that I have in hand in order to achieve that, right? And I'll share a very simple example. Let's say I have a daughter who is 18 years of age right now, right? And I want her to go abroad and I want her to do her studies, do her masters from abroad, right? Now I know there's about 1 crore of money that I might require. And say, she's already 18. So another 4 years, she'd do her graduation. And then by the end of fourth year, fifth year, she'd be in time to go abroad, right? So I have 5 years to create a corpus of 1 CR, right? Now, the goal is clear. The amount is clear. I have 5 years in hand. Is that enough for me to build that? Not really, right? In fact, let me start from the other angle. Quick refresh, right? Forget the 5 year thing. Let me start from the other way. Let's say my daughter is about to be born, right? Let's say my daughter is about to be born. She's still not here. Let's say she's just 6 months old. Right? Now I want to plan from now itself that, till 18 she'll do her schooling, 22 she'll be done with the graduation, 22, 23 is when she'll be ready to go abroad, right? That's a goal that I've kind of figured out today itself. Now I have good 22 years in hand, right? My goal is clear, my time in hand is clear. And therefore, can I say that since my goal is 22 years from now, it's about 1 crore rupees. It comes out to be, let's say, about 10, 15,000 rupees a month that I've got to start investing from. If in case in this 22 years, let's say even for the first 3 years, 4 years of investing, I make some mistakes, I lose some money, will I still be very worried about it? I might not be, right? My risk appetite, the appetite of taking the risk in achieving that 1 crore, since I have 22 years in hand, is higher, right? I can take risk with that money. I can try a couple of things and see if those work for me. However, now going to the other scenario where I was telling you that, let's say now there's just 5 years left, and say I've collected about 60 lakh rupees, 70 lakh rupees, I just need another 30 lakh rupees. Can I take the same amount of risk I could have taken 22 years back in this 5 years? I already have 70 lakh rupees. Another 30 lakhs is what I need to arrange. But I don't want to lose a single penny of this 70 lakh rupees because it's taken me the last 15 years to reach here. And therefore, my risk appetite goes down, right? Therefore, my risk appetite goes down. And therefore, the thumb rule becomes, and listen to this carefully, and I'd love it if somebody could take notes and put it in the chat as well. The longer the goal I have, the higher is my risk appetite. The longer the goal I have, the higher is my risk appetite. The shorter the goal I have, the lower is my risk appetite. The longer the goal I have, higher is my risk appetite. Shorter the goal I have, lower is my risk appetite. Now you'd be like, Akshat, okay, but what do we do with this risk appetite? I'm not able to make sense. What do I do with a high and a low risk appetite? Listen, careful. When we talk about equity markets, right? We saw Sensex giving us a 1 lakh to 4 crore return. Equity markets perform well. They can actually give us returns up to 15 to 20% over a long period of time, right? And honestly, equity markets are the only way for us to grow our wealth exponentially. We can all save money, and we can all put our money into fixed deposits and PPFs and so on and so forth. But 7%, 8% over a period of many years won't increase our wealth exponentially. We need that 15, 20% at least on certain portion of our money, right? But since it's giving us higher return, it could also mean it's risky. It could also mean that I might lose my money at some instances. My money might give me negative returns in some instances, right? But the point being that if I have a if I have a longer goal in mind, then even after this fluctuation of up and down with equity markets, I can still aim to make a profit, because that's what the historical data says. The historical data says that over a period of 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, people have lost money with stock markets, with equity markets. But if they have stayed invested for more than 10 years in equity markets, 90% of the times they've made profits. If they've stayed invested for more than 15 years with the equity markets, 95% of the times they've made money, they've made profits. And in fact, if they've gone above 20, 25 years, almost 100% times they've made multiple profits. Getting my point? So when I said I have a higher risk appetite, I meant that if I have a long goal in mind, longer time, I have 20 years in mind, I can afford some risk with my money. Because at the end of the day, I will be able to get that with the assumption that I will be able to get that higher return, right? And therefore, the thumb rule becomes the longer the goal that I have, the higher is my risk appetite, and more can I invest towards equity instruments. Folks, please take a note on this, and I'd love it if somebody could put it in the chat. But the longer the goal I have, the longer the goal that I have, higher is my risk appetite, and more can I invest towards equity instruments. The shorter the goal that I have, the lower is my risk appetite, more should I go towards fixed income instruments.
Yeah.
The longer the goal that I have, higher is my risk appetite, more towards equity instruments. The shorter the goal that I have, lower is my risk appetite, more towards fixed income instruments. I need my money in, let's say, 2 years for a goal. No equity, no way, right? Fixed income is where I'll go, right? And that's how we think about the goal, risk appetite, and time in hand. That's how we've got to diversify our money, right? One really basic and very simple strategy called the 100 age rule, right? Let's say you have a long-term goal, right? Let's say today, say you're all in your 40s and you want to invest, you want to create some corpus for your retirement, say about 60, you have 20 years in hand. The 100 age rule says that 100 minus your current age, right? So 100 minus 40, 60% of your money for your long term can go towards your equity investments. 40% of your money should go towards your fixed income instruments. 100 age rule, as simple as that. If you're age 40, 100 minus 40, 60% towards equity, 40% towards fixed income, right? And that is a very basic rule to give you an idea of how should you split about between your equity and your debt. There's again a lot more depth into this. Happy to go this in the subsequent sessions, but I will pause on this topic for now. But yes, that's how you've got to think about it. I would once again reiterate, it is very, very important for all of us to have an equity exposure. All of us need to put some amount of money into stock markets. Don't get scared by it, but we've just got to learn to mitigate the risk, right? And mitigating that risk will come with time, right? So the longer that you can stay invested, the more is the probability of making higher returns. Clear? Equity stocks, absolutely same. No difference. No difference. So stocks is called equity as an asset class, right? Inside asset class, it's stocks. Cool. And finally, coming to the seventh mistake that we do, and that is buying the wrong insurance product. And once again, I can go hours and hours in this topic, but with the given time, I will quickly share some of the rules, but do not end up buying XYZ insurance plans or any of the plans that I'll just share on the screen. All you need to do when it comes to buying an insurance is you need two types of insurances. You need two types of insurances. So you'll get a lot of names, and let me just go up a couple of slides. I know it's written retirement here, but forget retirement for a minute. Any schemes that now there are a lot of insurance schemes that I'm sure a lot of you are sold, which is, let's say a ULIP scheme or a money back scheme. Ma'am, you've got to pay money for 5 years. You will get some money back the 6th year. You again pay money for 5 years. You'll get some money back for after the 10th year, so on and so forth. Some guaranteed income plans, some endowment plans, annuity plans, retirement oriented. These are all the names that they come with. You need not buy any of these plans. You need not buy any of these plans. That is because you need only two plans. And the reason why you need not buy any of those plans is those plans don't really they don't really cover the need that we have, right? So we need a term insurance plan. What is a term insurance plan? I'll quickly explain this. When it comes to life insurance, most of the plans I'm sure you've heard of would give you a 3 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 15 lakh sorts of covers, right? Now tell me quickly, do you think if something happens to me today, 10 lakhs is going to be enough for my family to take care of all the financial needs in future?
Mobile insurance.
10 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 15 lakhs for that matter really suffers? No, right? And that's what I believe most of these policies have to offer. You'll get a sum assured of 15 lakh in case something happens, you'll get that. Doesn't work. It's not sufficient, right? If I ask them for a 1 crore cover, they'll be like, okay, then you give us a premium of say about 3 lakh rupees, 2.5 lakh rupees. Arey bhaiya, that 2.5 lakh if I give to you, how will I live my life? How will I sustain? How will I pay my rent, groceries, food, etc.? Right? Now, having said that, there is one particular type of plan called a term insurance plan. A term insurance plan is something which all of us must have. And the reason why all of us must have that plan is for a very low amount of premium, we could get a really, really high amount of coverage. Typically, a 1 crore rupees of term insurance, we could get that in the range of 15 to 20,000 rupees max, right? Which means you're paying 15, 20,000 rupees per year. If something happens to us, our family is going to get as much as 1 crore rupees. But there is just one catch to it, which is if nothing happens to us, we will not get any money back. If nothing happens to us, we will not get any money back. And now you would be like, Akshat, what are you saying? I pay money for 30 years and I get nothing back. What is this? Yes, I understand your concern. But tell me one thing. What really is an insurance? What really is an insurance? Is insurance an investment or is it an expense? Today, when we are giving Airtel 1,000 rupees a month for Wi-Fi, do we expect Airtel to return everything back to us after a certain point of time? After 10 years, 15 years, are we going to call up Airtel and say, Acha, just now I've been paying you for so long, you must have earned some money, give me some money back? No, right? Why? Because it's an expense. We know we are paying on Wi-Fi, we know we are paying on a mobile. We're using a mobile, so we've got to pay a bill. Similarly, insurance is an expense. Insurance is an expense because when we buy insurance, we are basically buying protection for our family. that in case something happens to me, my family gets this amount back. In case something happens to me and I need to go to the hospital, my family need not pay the hospital bills, the insurance company needs. So what are we really basically buying? We are buying protection for ourselves and for our family. And so it's an expense. It is not an investment. The problem comes when we think of insurance as an investment and we think, okay, let's keep paying premiums. We're getting a good 5, 10, 15 lakh rupee cover, but you will also get our money back. It's a win-win situation. No, it's not a win-win situation. You need a term insurance for about 60, 65 years of age, and that's it. I honestly would love to go in depth into this topic over the subsequent weeks if you guys are interested. But with the given time, as of now, I'd say you take a note of this, go and do some reading, and you'd be able to get a lot more data. We'll also share some links at the end where you can get some more information. But keep this in mind. Please, please, please keep this in mind, because this is one of the biggest mistakes and biggest blunders that we've seen people doing, which is going for various sorts of policies which just do not give us the benefit. Did you know most of your LIC plans, I'm sure for a lot of you might have invested in some of them. I mean, I at least know some examples of my parents who they enrolled into some of the LIC plans 20, 25 years back. And today, if I see, all they've got is a 4-5% return. A 4-5% return over a 25-year period, when we've seen stock markets have made 1 lakh to 4 crores. Biggest mistake, right? And how do we avoid this mistake? By diversifying our money correctly, right? Buying the insurance as an expense and then investing the remaining amount of money into the asset classes that we talked about, right? So therefore, term insurance, take a note. I'm happy to talk to anyone about who needs more information. Term insurance to cover your life, a basic term insurance product, and a medical insurance to cover your medical emergencies, right? Even in term insurance, I would particularly mention, do not go above 60, 65 or at max 70 years of age. These days, they've started coming up with policies up to 95, 99 years of age. I don't think it makes sense, right? Because if you're really buying a policy till 99 years of age, you'll end up paying bomb premiums, right? I mean, you'll end up paying double the premium, double the amount of premium that you would eventually, and that we would pay for a 65, 70-year policy. And why do I say so? I'm sure you'll be saying, Akshat, but the probability of we dying at 90 will be more, right? Understood. But again, what is an insurance? It's a protection that we are buying when we are the primary or the secondary bread earner of the family, right? By the time I'm 75, I'm 80, my children would have been self-sufficient, right? Or I would have invested so much that I can take care of my needs, right? I will not be the primary bread earner at that point of time for my family. And therefore, in case something happens to me, my family will not be dependent on my salary or on my earnings, right? And therefore, we need not buy insurance for an age outside of our retirement age, right? 60, 65, I personally have till 60 years of age. But yes, I do understand some of us might have to work till 65, 70, depending on, the various backgrounds that we come from. So, but I think that's the upper touch point, not more than 65, 70 years of age. Cool. Absolutely. I know this could be a little confusing, but I don't want to leave you high and dry. Please, please, please feel free to connect with me and I'll be more than happy to share more information. Cool. Last thing that I wanted to cover here, I know we have some teachers as well, and therefore that I wanted to include this. I'll take another 5 minutes and then we'll be done. You look at the lady there. Yeah, you mean retirement and I had to plan for it. Yes, we all need to plan for our retirement. And in a way, we're just kind of breaking your, the goal planning exercise that we did earlier. We're just trying to break that down for one of the goals so that, you understand how does that really need to happen. And you can similarly, just like retirement being one of the goals, you could have multiple goals and you could do the same exercise for that. But I'll quickly share how do you need to think about your retirement and what is the kind of money that you would need to start investing in order to prepare for your retirement, right? So how do we, first of all, calculate how much money do we need for retirement, right? The first table, let's assume your current age is 31 years of age. let's assume your current annual expenditure is about 6 lakh rupees, 50,000 rupees a month, yearly about 6 lakh rupees. Assuming that inflation is going to increase by 6% over the years, right? By the time you turn 60, you'll be having about 29 years of age, 29 years in hand in order to fulfill this goal, right? Now, taking into consideration the inflation, so the current annual expenditure of 6 lakh rupees today, adjusting inflation over a period of 29 years, do you know the value of 6 lakh rupees today is going to be roughly about 32 lakh rupees nearing your retirement. 32 lakh rupees. Anything that you are able to buy for 6 lakh today, you'll have to pay 32 lakhs. That's what this means. Now, assuming your life expectancy is 90, you think, you're really doing well with your health and you constantly exercise. I hope all of us do cross this number as well. But for the purpose of calculation, let's assume that, we've taken an expectancy of 90 years of age. So which means that once you retire at the age of 60, you basically need money for that 60 to 90, roughly about 30 years of age, right? Roughly about 30 years, roughly for about 30 years of time, right? And so you need 32 lakhs into 30, roughly about 4 crores and 74 lakhs. Roughly about 4 crores and 74 lakhs. So which means today, when you are 31 years of age, you should start planning your investments in such a way that you are able to create a corpus of 4 crores and 74 lakh rupees over a period of the next 29 years, so that post you are 60, post you're retired, you just don't have to worry about it. You can utilize that 4.5 crore rupees to manage your entire life for the next 30 years, right? That's the power of calculation. And you see, on the other hand, how do you go about planning for it? So since we said 29 years of time in hand we have, money required is about 4 crores and 75 lakh rupees. If you invest 15,000 rupees per year, per month. If you invest 15,000 rupees per month from now onwards itself, bang on. You are on your path to prepare well in advance for your retirement, right? That's how you go about it. That's about how you go about it. Absolutely. I'll take a quick example of somebody who's 45 years of age. The calculations would definitely change. And that's what's good about this calculator. We will share this with you. Feel free to, change your numbers the way you want them and the kind of expenses you have. I'll just, for the purpose of calculation, I'll just go about, no, this is not any app. This is something that Pennywise has built. This is absolutely no other app. We've built all of these tools ourselves, right? So assuming 6 lakh rupees of expense is what the teacher at 45 years of age also has. So you see, there are about 15 years that she has to retire, right? She or he has have in hand to retire. So they need, taking into consideration a 6% inflation over a period of 15 years. So 6 lakh rupees of today would mean roughly about 14 lakh rupees 15 years from now, right? So if a teacher is spending 6 lakh rupees today, they'll be spending about 14.5 lakh rupees 15 years from now, right? Assuming that they need to, again, 90 years of life expectancy, they need money for 30 years. So they need to start preparing for a corpus of about 2 crores from today itself, right? So at 45 years of age, your target corpus is about 2 crores in the next 15 years, right? What do? The calculator will do everything for you, right? So now you have 15 years of time in hand, expecting about 12% rate of return over a period of 15, which is definitely doable with a decent equity exposure. The SIP required, the per month investment required is roughly about 41,000 rupees, right? So you'll have to start investing 41,000 rupees from your salaries, particularly for your retirement, so that over a period of 15 years, you have close to about 2 crore 10 lakh rupees, which will be sufficient enough to take into consideration. You need the same amount. You need the money for your future use. Yep, makes sense. Some of you might be getting confused with the lump sum. What this means is just another way. So SIP is basically investing a little bit of money every month. Lump sum is, let's say if today you have 40 lakh rupees, right, from whatever savings in the past, whatever investments in the past, or any of the money that you've kept with yourself. If today you have about 38 lakh rupees and you just kind of park that separately into an asset that over a period of 15 years can give you 12% return, this 40 lakhs, this 38 lakhs will become about 2 crores and 10 lakh, right? It's basically a one-time investment versus a recurring investment, right? So if you today do not have this amount, obviously you would want to utilize the salaries that you're having and then take out money from that. So if that's what the plan is, you need about 42,000 rupees. However, on the other hand, if you have some funds today saved from your from the earlier years, about 40 lakh rupees of money is what you need to create a corpus of 2 crore rupees, 2 crore 10 lakh rupees in the next 15 years. I hope this makes sense. And I think with that, we've covered pretty much what we had that we wanted to cover for this session. I'll just leave you all with one checklist, which I believe would be a great way to keep in mind, keep at the back of your mind as to how good are you doing at your financial health. These are an 8-pointer checklist as we call it, and we feel that once you have these 8 pointers sorted, you're pretty much on your way towards financial freedom, right? So the first one, 3 bank accounts. Once you've done it, promise you some of you promise you'll do it today. Please do it once the session is over. So 3 bank account strategy, the effective budgeting, buy a term life insurance if you don't have one, buy a medical insurance if you don't have one, create an emergency fund, define at least 3 short-term and 3 long-term goals. As you all saw, we have, we talked about a Honda City, we talked about a retirement. Similarly, you should have about 3 to 5 years of, 3 to 5 goals that you must be tracking at a time. 3 short-term, 3 long-term is good enough to get started with, right? Plan for your post-retirement income and start investing, right? And please look at this seriously. If you are today on a scale on a score of, let's say, 3 on 8, I really say, you've got to push yourself to work towards your finances. If you're above 5 or so, I'd say good, try to be there at an 8 on 8 as soon as possible, right? So that's the 8-pointer checklist that we had. I am pretty much done with what I had, ending it with a quote by Alexa von Tobel. A good financial plan is a roadmap that shows us exactly how the choices we make today affect our future, right? And I really hope all of you make the right choices. Sir, I am almost done. I do want to share a quick thing about the Pennywise community. Can I do that? Do we have a minute?
Yes, ma'am. Please, sir. Akshat, please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, so it's basically, I'm sure all of you have lots and lots of questions, and I'm happy to stay on this call for as long as you guys want me to answer your questions. However, as they say, tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. So tell me and I forget, which usually happens, right? We tell people invest, and we forget about it. Teach me and I may remember. So today we've taught you. We really hope you remember all of this. Involve me and I learn. And that's what we want to do. So we've created this Pennywisers community. It's a simple, basic community over WhatsApp. All you've got to do is you can just take out your phones and swipe QR code. And you will enter a community. After you enter a community, you'll see about 7 to 8 groups, right? And based on your interests, let's say you want to learn more about investment products, you want to learn something about credit cards, you want to learn something about Learn with Penny, about taxes, you just simply have to go and join those groups, right? As simple as that. So if any one of you want to try it right now, please feel free. Just scan the QR code which is there on the screen. You'll be entering a community and you just have to request access to all. My team will quickly give you the access and you'll be in the group. The intention is very simple. It's absolutely going to be free, always free. The intention is to learn and grow from each other's experiences. You have questions today. You need some help. and it's more of people helping each other, right? And which is obviously moderated by our team. So we just want to have an environment where you can feel safe to discuss anything and everything about your personal finances. Cool. How do I access the workshop resources? Either you can, I'll share the contact details here. You could either ping me, or once you join the community, right, you will have you have this group called Learn with Pennywise. You could just put it there, or you could just message me or mail me on this number, or maybe if you can also put in your number. Yes, ma'am, I just shared my number. We'll also share the number of my team in case anyone needs any help. We'll be more than happy to help you guys, right? Yeah, so we do this. We've been doing this for a lot of, we are on a mission to financially educate people, and that's the core intent. We are not here to endorse any financial products. We just want to help you, all of us, get the right knowledge which we all deserve, right? That's the some of the corporates that we work with. Happy to also, do it for any of the corporates in case you guys are a part of. Right, so we facilitated more than 100+ workshops over a span of last 5 years. Close to about 15,000 people have enrolled themselves through these workshops, and that's what we're doing. Right. In case anyone wants any more information, happy to share. And yeah, I'll finally take a pause, sir. And in case if we have the possibility of taking a group photo, and if we could request people, that would be super amazing. So that
we can do that. You can just stop share so that we can come on the screen. And yeah, thank you. And I'll request, and from our president, we had a request that we need a picture of everyone who can switch on their camera. So I'll be happy if it is possible to switch on the camera. All can come on the camera so that we can take a picture for our records. So before we take the questions, if we can switch on the camera, if it is possible for you to switch on the camera, please do that so that we can take a picture. And then we move on to the questions so that, and if it's getting late, so if anybody has any question, they can stay back. Akshat has been very kind to offer his time and service on a Sunday evening. It's family time. So thank you so much for that. And thank you participants also for joining from various parts of India. Thank you teachers from Don Bosco School and our past pupils and AIF members. Some of them have joined from there also. So thank you so much for joining. And if somebody can, if more can switch on their cameras, we will take a picture for our records. And then we start on with the question and answer session. Yeah, so we can start. If anybody has any questions, please go ahead. So, Akshat, you've already given so much time and it's 9:30. So we'll take the questions for about 5 minutes. I think that's more than enough. Yes, if anybody has any questions, you can put it in the chat, or you may ask you can unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, I'll just also share my screen again with the QR in the meanwhile. If some of you are asking for it, to ask just see. Yeah, so any of the concepts that we taught, in case it didn't make sense to you or anything that you want to learn, absolutely. If there's anything that you want me to repeat, I'm more than happy to repeat that again.
Yeah, so some of you are asking for the recording. The session has been recorded, and I'll be sharing by tomorrow. I will be sharing the recording in case somebody wants to share it further. So Akshata has been kind to give the permission to record the session. So in case some of you want to share it further or listen to the recording, or go through any slides that he presented, I'll be sharing the recording by tomorrow. Thank you.
And happy to share the Excel trackers and the slides that we've been going through, right? So if you could just, I'll share my coordinates again. If you could just drop a message to myself or to Viplip, just give us your email ID, and then we will give you the access to the workshop resources.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, ma'am.
Good evening,
Please
ma'am.
go ahead.
Please ask.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, sir, and thank you, Akshat, for such an enlightening session. It was really worth it, spending time on a Sunday evening. But thanks to you also for giving us that time. Uh, See, we honestly, for me, I have been looking into all these things, but I'm not really very sure. I'm a teacher, and I'm not like I've been looking into like how to invest, where to invest, and all. And honestly, it's not like too much of pension things that we get and very good salaries that normally teachers get. But I just wanted to know if you can have another session where you can tell us as a beginner about stock investment and all these kind of things. Like normal fixed income things we generally know about from our parents also and all. Like I'm 45 plus. So now, like at this age, like we have not been exposed to these kind of things from a early age. So now we feel that setback that, where to invest, what to do. And people are always talking about stock investment, ye wo. So fixed wale ka, to we have some idea. So if you can have another session, I would really request you to, for a beginner, like how to go into investments and what are the basics and all. That
Sure,
would
sure,
be nice.
absolutely. So that's what we do. I mean, we keep doing these sessions. I mean, happy to do that again under this forum. Otherwise, you could also, as I said, just join in the community. So we keep doing a
Okay.
lot of these courses, workshops, sessions, and in fact, we're also, very soon going to start with some cohort-based programs where our team will be working with you over a period of 3 to 5 weeks, helping you streamline all
Okay.
your finances together, right? More like a cohort-based learning. So absolutely, I mean, all of
So,
those information we keep sharing. More than that, as part of this community benefit, the first Sunday of every month, we do a Paise Pe Charcha session. Right, it's absolutely free of cost again as a benefit to the members of our community. And again, the intention is just keep discussing on any or other topic. Right, so just be a
yeah.
part of this WhatsApp group, and we'll have all the.
Sure. Thank you so much.
And Matthew sir and everyone, I've also just posted a post on LinkedIn with the group photo that we took. Would love it if you guys could share some of the feedback and comments there. It would just help us a bit with our marketing, to be very very honest. But at the
Sure, sure.
same time,
We'll do that. I'll send you the recording as well as the screenshot.
that it will help us getting to know your feedback as well.
Sure, sure, definitely. And as some of you wanted to join further sessions, it best is to join the community because Akshat keeps posting a lot of tips and the sessions that he conducts, and his team is also conducting a lot of sessions. So you will be getting more information from by joining this group. So if you are really interested to pursue more courses, attend more webinars, so do join the group so that you benefit more. Because on this forum we'll be having different topics, so we'll not be continuing perhaps with this. Maybe we can call Akshat now after some time. Definitely he will be of assistance. But if you want to continue your sessions based on the same topic, I will request you all to join the Pennywise group so that you get the regular updates. So I think on that note, Dr. Kinshukji, can we call it a day for today? Dr. Kinshuk, are you there?
Yeah.
Hanji. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Akshat, for a wonderful session and keeping us all aware on the this part, which is most important for our future, the savings and how one should invest and teaching us the basics. So I think those are the basic foundations which would help us in the long run, and especially for teachers. Like it is mentioned that the pension part is not there, and so one has to look at future prospects and how to go about saving. So thank you for a lovely section, Akshat, and your team to spare your time, and we cannot thank you enough.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
Dorothy ma'am has raised her hands for a very long time. I think we'll take that question and then we'll wind up. Yes. Do you have a question?
Very good evening to one and all.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
And well, it is Dorothy is supposed to be is my mother's name, but
Okay.
let me
Fine.
introduce
Sorry, sir.
myself. Let me introduce myself. Myself, I'm Richard, Mr. Richard, and I am interacting on this Zoom. I'm a past pupil of the Solutions, the Don Bosco schools from the city of Mumbai.
Welcome, sir.
So, friends, let me be very much in brief. I was very happy and very, to know the past pupil and the other members of this Zoom are quite interested to invest. Investments is the most important thing. So I was happy to hear our good friend, Mr. Malhotra, who has been doing a good work. Excellent. Hats off to you, Malhotra. You're doing an excellent work. And I'm being almost now nearing to my age of 60s. But my investments is, I have put on the chat box saying that put your investments into organic farming. Organic farming will build up is to say that farmers also will benefit. And also it will be a plus point for all of us saying that we are not risking ourselves, but even making more money to have good food and to save our mother soil. That is one part of it where I go patronizing and talking to people. I tell them, do not invest in money where, because now 90% what we consume every day, the food what we eat is with all chemicals. I've been working on all India level with the farmers. Being a Don Bosco boy, I have noticed that, what we eat every day, we are going to only create health issues. So we are making more awareness on organic farming. That is point number one. Point number two, the other way, what I do in a smaller way to do my investments is, I try to patronize many youngsters where there are, coming from the poor families. I patronize that, I utilize my little earnings because I'm a freelancer. Let me tell you, I'm a freelancer and a social worker. I coordinate for all India level. So what I do is I try to put in little money for the youngsters for their better future. Put them in some institute, try to get them educated, try to make them to be something for the betterment and for the future. Once they learn some skills and talents, they start earning, they return the money in goodwill, and that's how we can progressively do jointly coordination work. The other way I do the investments is in food and beverage. Fast, if you want to earn something in food and beverage is the fastest thing, provided you're not risking yourself. That's all I would like to share. That's my view. And if I have said something in a proper way, I will appreciate my good friend Mr. Malhotra to correct me. Thank you, and I pray for all of you for good health.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good night. I think. Thank you so much, Akshat. We'll call it a day. Thank you so much for your valuable time, close to 1 hour 45 minutes. So have a good night and God bless you for your initiatives. And thank you, dear participants, for joining in for this session and hope to see you next time. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.